The Buffalo Bills wide receivers going into the 2023 season is my biggest concern and is my biggest question mark on this Buffalo Bills offense. But before we get into that, let's hit that intro. Welcome to the Mafia Sports Report. I am Tommy. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell because I always forget to tell you. Anyways, guys, what is going on? Happy July 4th weekend, and tomorrow is July 4th. And once again, don't blow your hands off and your face off, okay? You need to enjoy this Buffalo Bills 2023 season because it's going to be a fun one. And that's why I'm here to talk to you today. I want to talk to you about one of my biggest concerns, one of my biggest question marks going into the 2023 season is the Buffalo Bills wide receiver group. And yes, I said it right. The Buffalo Bills wide receiver group.
What did you say?
I did say that. So, guys, here's the roster real quick of the group of the Buffalo Bills wide receivers. So, not in any particular order, but you got Isaiah Coulter, 6'3". We got Gabe Davis, 6'2". Stephon Diggs, 6 foot. Deontay Hardy, 5'6". He's the speedster. You got Braden Johnson, who has no face, so probably won't make the team, 6 foot. Keyshawn Johnson, 6'1". Desmond Patman, 6'4". I think we traded for him, if I'm not mistaken, from the Colts. Khalil Shakir coming at 6 foot. Tyrell Shavers, never heard of him, but man, he's tall, 6'6". Trent Sherfield, 6'1". Justin Shorter, he's our draft pick, 6'4". Brian Thompson, 6'3". And Jalen Wayne, who is Reggie Wayne's, I believe, nephew, coming at 6'2", and that is the wide receiver room. So last year, I do got a bad stat to throw at you. So last year, by the way, this has been the Buffalo Bills thing, which is drop passes, and it's been a thing for the Buffalo Bills. I think 2 or 3 seasons we've led the league or been top 5 in dropped percentage, which is not good. So the Bills were awful catching passes. By the way, this is PFF did a data on that. They led the NFL in drops per game, were second in total drops, were third in drop percentage, and squandered the most yardage through drops. So not good. You all want to point once again the finger at one guy, which is Ken Dorsey, but you're not looking at the facts. The facts are that we are second in the league in drop passes. We are first in most yardage through drops. We squandered the most yardage. Not good. Right? So imagine if those drop percentage, let's say we were not in the top 5 or the second worst, right? Who knows how many points we could have added last year? Who knows how much better this offense could have been if these receivers would have been better at catching the ball that was thrown their way. Perfect pass, right? By the way, not every pass is perfect, but a lot of these passes that Josh Allen's throwing that they're dropping that I see are right in their hands. There's no excuse. So here we go. So Pro Football Focus charted that the Bills dropped 34 drops, 6.1% of their pass attempts. Those incompletions total 343 yards from the spot of the drop. The NFL's greatest waste by 72 yards over the next closest team despite the canceled game. Not good. Only 10 teams dropped over 200 yards worth of passes. Gabriel Davis and Isaiah McKenzie were supposed to at least fill, if not surpass, roles vacated by Emmanuel Sanders, and Cole Beasley, who aged out. Davis dropped 7 passes, 7.5 percentage of his targets. McKenzie dropped 5, which is 8.1 percentage of his targets. Amongst wideouts with at least 25 catches, they rank 8th worst and 3rd worst in drop percentage. Not good. Diggs tied for the NFL lead in drops with 9, his most since Pro Football Focus began tracking in 2019. Wow, so Diggs as well had drop passes last year. Diggs drop percentage 6 was ranked 22nd among wideouts with 25 catches. But it was his worst rate with Buffalo, and more than twice as bad as in 2021 when he dropped just 4 passes, 2.5% of his targets. Diggs, Davis, and McKenzie each dropped a ball while losing to the Minnesota Vikings in Week 10. Not good. Once again, man, I go back to it and I tell you guys that these receivers, man, they need to step it up. Dropping passes, bad catch percentage, uncalled for. You cannot win in the NFL when your receivers are dropping passes. You can't do it. You've given up. Look how many yards we give up. 300. What is it? Almost 350. And we missed the game. Crazy. The next closest team was 200. I mean, guys, once again, you go back to offensive play calling. This is not an offensive play calling thing. This is a personnel problem. And this is something that the Buffalo Bills receivers need to get better on, including Stephon Diggs, who had 9 drop passes. You cannot have that. So whatever they got to do going into the 2023 season to get this better, they need to, because we cannot win. We cannot be a Super Bowl team if we continue to drop passes like that. And listen, I'm not saying, once again, that all these passes are perfectly thrown to them. I'm sure there's some that are tough catches, but you got to make them, right? This is the NFL. And I will say, listen, once again, I read you the roster. I read you the breakdown on the receivers. Stephon Diggs, fine. He is our number 1. He's a top 5 receiver in the NFL, in my opinion. Then you got Gabe Davis, who I believe can be a number 2 in this league, though he hasn't proven it yet, but he's only had 1 season as a number 2. And he almost nearly had 1,000 yards. Okay, and we can go back and say, okay, he had that ankle injury early on, right? But his catch percentage since being in the NFL has been low. His drops percentage has been pretty high, right? So I can't really give him that injury excuse last year if this has been something that's followed his career since he's been drafted. Trent Sherfield, who I think could be a good number 3 in this, on this team. Even he had a bad catch percentage and drops in his career, right? Then you got Khalil Shakir. By the way, Khalil Shakir last year, catch percentage 50%. Not good either. He had a case of drops as well. His drop percentage is really up there as well. I wish I had it pulled up. But once again, another player who I have faith in, who I believe can be a good player in the NFL, needs to step up his game. And I am concerned. I am, because if these guys don't step up in 2023, who do you look for? Because I believe in Stephon Diggs. He's not the problem. It's the rest of the receiver group that could be the downfall of this offense. And it doesn't matter how creative that Ken Dorsey can get. If your receivers aren't doing their job on the field when it comes game day, then it doesn't matter what you draw up. It's not going to work. These guys need to step up. They need to take it to the next level. Okay? Now, the rest of the guys I told you about are all underdogs. Justin Shorter, who I did a video on earlier, in the year about when we drafted him. I don't think this year he'll be on the offense, meaning he'll probably be on special teams. I don't think you'll see many snaps from Justin Shorter year 1. Okay, I think he's more of a project receiver. Then you got Khalil Shakir. How many snaps will he get going into the year number 2? Will Trent Sherfield take away those snaps? I believe he will, but maybe Khalil Shakir can beat him out in preseason, in camp and preseason, and be that number 3. Then you got other guys like Wayne, which is Reggie Wayne's nephew, Jalen Wayne. Listen, more than likely, he probably won't even make the team, okay? Maybe practice squad. Desmond Patman, 6'4", yes, he's a taller receiver, has been in the league 3 years. I don't know much about him. I don't know much about the Keyshawn Johnson guy either. A lot of these guys are probably cut guys. Now, there is Deontay Hardy. I don't know if I brung him up when I was counting the names. I don't think I did. So, Deontay Hardy, he's a speedster. He's interesting. He could, if used right, he could be electric. But he's also had an injury problem, right? Injuries have followed him throughout his career. Can he stay healthy? How much will he be used in this offense? What will his role be, right? Will he be more of a gadget guy? Will he be the deep threat guy? How many snaps will he get? You know what I mean? There's a lot to be questioned there, right? So, yeah, I'm a little concerned about the receiver group. Actually, a lot concerned. And that's the real reason why I wanted them to go out and get a DeAndre Hopkins. Though right now it doesn't look good. It looks like the Patriots have given him an offer. And also as Tennessee as well. And I just don't think the Bills are even close into what he's asking for and what other teams have offered him. And so I just don't know if we can get Hopkins. But there's other receivers out there still that the Bills can go after. You got Landry out there. He's a good target. We went over the receivers on Friday Night Lights. There is a few. I wish I had my list pulled up, but there's a few out there that stick out to me. But the number one is obviously, Hopkins. But I just don't see that's going to happen. So I have a feeling, guys, we are where we're at. This is it. This is going to be your receiver room. I don't think the Bills are going to make any moves right now for, additional receivers. I could be wrong, but I have a feeling this is what you're looking at. And these guys need to step up. Now, there is potential. Now, like I told you guys before, Trent Sherfield had a very good year last year with the Miami Dolphins. Considering he was a third receiver on that team, okay, he beat out, I forget the guy he beat out. He beat out a certain, I forget the guy's name, but he beat him out. And he was not supposed to be the third receiver going into the season. And he wound up being the third receiver, and he had a little over 400 yards on a very good wide receiver team. With Hill and Waddle taking most of the snaps, he still had a little over 400, 2 touchdowns. So he had a promising year for the Dolphins. If that could carry over to the Buffalo Bills, then yeah, man, then we got ourselves a really good free agent and possibly a steal of a free agent. If he can't and he goes back to his Arizona days, then yeah, it's not good. Then we got to rely on Khalil Shakir as a second-year player. If he could step up and play a little better. Now, what I saw last year of Shakir, boy, he had some flashes, boy, and he looked the part. And then there were some games where he was kind of out of sort. Got to get better on his blocking. Some of his route running was a little off last year. Though, listen, when needed, though, he had some games where he really stepped up and helped out Josh Allen. Baltimore game. There was another game where he really came through. So he had flashes where you're like, damn, Khalil Shakir might be that guy. And I still think he can be. But will he have a big bounce, a step up from year 1 to year 2? We'll see. We'll see what kind of work this guy puts in the offseason to get himself better. Now, I will say this. He is working with Eric Moulds in the offseason. You all know how I feel about Eric Moulds. One of the most underrated receivers in the NFL ever. The dude was phenomenal. So if he's working with Eric Moulds, man, that's awesome to hear. And that could be a reason why you might see a major step up in year 2 for Khalil Shakir. So that should get you a little excited for Khalil Shakir heading into 2023. But the rest of the receivers, man, I just, those guys are all, practice squad guys or special team guys. And, we got really just a couple that need to really step up. If they don't, this offense is in trouble. I am telling you right now. that the Buffalo Bills are going to scramble like they did last year when they went out and got Cole Beasley and John Brown, who hasn't played in 3 years, because the rest of the Bills receivers weren't doing their job. Once again, I want to remind you, last year, the Buffalo Bills went out and got John Brown, who hasn't played in 3 years, because the rest of the receivers could not do their job. And went out and got Cole Beasley, who was retired, who came out of retirement. And y'all keep saying it's an offensive coordinator thing. How is that an offensive coordinator thing when we have to go and get receivers that haven't played football in 3 years? It's not good. And I think a lot of Bills Mafia forget about that. And you shouldn't forget about that, because that's not a good thing. And did the Bills do enough this offseason for this receiver group to make a real change in 2023? That's what you need to be asking yourself. Did they do enough? Is Trent Sherfield, Hardy, is that enough? I don't know. Honestly, guys, I don't know. It's a big question mark, and it should be a question mark on everyone's mind. If they could step up, then cool, then great. Brandon B did his job. But if they can't, we're going to all be sitting here talking again in the offseason next year about how they made a mistake in not getting D-Hop, on why they didn't go out and get another quality, veteran wide receiver free agent out there. And it was too late. They were already picked up. We're going to be sitting here complaining about why they didn't get help for Josh Allen, right? And I don't want to be that. I don't want to be here sitting here talking. I want to be here sitting talking about how awesome the Buffalo Bills Super Bowl parade was. So let's just hope that this receiver group can get their act together, stop with the drop passes, right? And go out and prove themselves. And Gabe Davis is on, by the way, Gabe Davis is on a contract year. If anyone needs to prove himself, it needs to be Gabe Davis, because you want to go get paid, right? And it may not be in Buffalo, but you want to show your worth, then go ahead and ball out. Stop dropping passes. You know what I mean? Get your act together. Anyways, guys, Bills Mafia, I love you. And as always, go Bills. I'm out of here. Peace.
And look at it go! He could go all the way! Touchdown! Touchdown! Touchdown!
The Bills make me wanna shout. Kick your heels up and shout. Throw your hands up and shout. Throw your head back and shout. Come on now, the Bills are making it happen now. Stand up now, come on and shout. Yeah, 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 hey.